All right, thanks for joining me today. We're going to do a Lightroom only edit on this shot with Makala. If you want to see the BTS of the photo shoot, look at my last video showing you just how we got this shot. I did have it just a little snippet of that at the beginning of this video. If you like this kind of content, definitely subscribe. I've got a small struggling channel. I can use all the help I can get. So give it a like and a subscribe. That would help me out a lot, and I would really appreciate it. So Lightroom only in it. Let's get into it. As a straight out of camera, it's fine. It looks good. There's just a couple things that, like the hair, little pieces of hair that I would get, and just personal preference. I would like to see a little more texture on the backdrop. This was a canvas backdrop, so it looks fine the way it is, but just a little bit of texture enhancement, and I'll show you how I go by doing that. So real quickly, anytime I'm doing a Lightroom edit, I'll take you through all the steps that I do. I don't do much, really, to be honest with you. I will not even touch the exposure, and it's pretty good straight out of camera. Just looking at the histogram up here, maybe it's a little low, but maybe in these blacks, that kind of thing. But first thing I'll do is I'll reach for the highlights. I'll bring those up a little bit, bring up the shadows. That'll bring out some of these blacks especially. And then that looks, pretty good as far as exposure. I could play with the exposure here a little bit, but I think I like it more of like a moodier look. So really not going to do anything there with exposure. I think that looks pretty good. It's maybe a little warm straight out of camera. I could come up here and adjust the white balance and cool it down just a little bit. Actually, if we set this to 5600, which was what I was using to light with, your strobes are going to be 5600. That gets us kind of into the ballpark. It's subjective. I almost kind of liked it warmer, so let me warm it up just a little bit, bring it down to there. It's almost 5900. So I'm liking that right there. Next, we got the highlights, the shadows. Maybe give it a little bit of contrast, not a ton, just a little bump. Blacks, let's just see. We can bring those blacks up just a little bit. That'll help with so the shirt doesn't drown in black. We can still see some detail in there, and we did that. The shadows brought that out. Bringing the blacks up a little bit, we'll do that as well. So texture, I will bring that down a little bit just to have a little bit of a softening effect on the skin. Not a ton, and that just helps with softening the skin without reducing the clarity on the skin. Clarity and dehaze I'll leave alone. I left the whites alone. I hardly ever do anything with the whites. Vibrance will bring up to about 17. It's always between 15 and 20. Saturation we'll leave alone. Don't feel the need to do any color grading here. So we'll move down to sharpening. Always bring that up to around 70. Can hold down the Alt or Option and drag this masking button over. That will show you the mask for the sharpening, and anything in white is what's being sharpened and everything else is not. And you can see my profile correction. I was using the Tamron 28 to 75. Really don't see anything else other than the hair that I would adjust with this. So let's just zoom in. I'm hitting Control Plus to zoom in. Oops, let me go back. You can hit the space bar to go back to your previous zoom level. Let's go to the healing tool, and we'll use the left bracket key to resize that. That's the bracket next to the P key, and we'll just come in here and see what we can do. I really prefer using Photoshop for this, and I'm using my mouse, and I'm a lot more accurate with the mouse. Let's see. Let's move this over. To me, we'll go in here and edit this. To me, just it's a little bit tedious doing this with the healing tool in Lightroom, but if you're not a Photoshop person, that would probably work for you. So the only other thing I would do is probably grab this one over here and just see if I can be a little bit more accurate here, just like that. Let me see what it looks like. It still missed a spot there, but we'll get that. So I'm going to come in here And we're going to grab that spot and move it over because it took a sample from an area that I didn't want. And I want it to grab and let go. There we go. Now let's turn it off and see what that looks like. Still a little artifact right there. This is what drives me crazy. Let's do that right there. With Lightroom, Photoshop, it's just so much more accurate. Okay, and the last one maybe I want to do is here. Again, with my mousing on the left hand, I'm a little less rickety there. All right, turn it off, see what it looks like. Pretty good. So if you zoom back out, I mean, you really, it looks fine now. We just had those few pieces up there and this one piece over there that was bothering me. The only other thing I feel the need to do, and you could do some dodging and burning and whatever else, it's pretty well dodged and burned in camera, right? We got this, so this is what I like right here. But maybe the backdrop, I like a little more texture, and this is personal preference. So we can come over here to the masking, click on that and choose background. And it should do a pretty good job of selecting this background. Now maybe you like it a little less texture, less clarity, and you like it the way it is. That's fine. I will link this file below actually for you in this tutorial so you can use the raw file and follow along with me if you want. So it's done a really good job of just selecting the background, and what I might want to do, since I want to see more texture, is bring up this clarity, maybe a little contrast, and let's bring up the texture of the background. That really brings it in. So now if we turn the mask off, it's blurry, and now we've got some texture back there, and I kind of like that a little better. Again, personal preference, maybe you don't. It's up to you. So I don't feel the need to do anything else with this shot. I could clean up the hair a little bit more, but I don't think there's a need to make it perfect. It was almost really good straight out of camera, so I'm pretty happy with this. The only other thing you could do is crop for Instagram, and I like the composition straight out of camera. Instagram would be a 4:5 crop, and then see you start to lose things. And I always look at off to the side up there what it will look like cropped. I can hit enter, and there's the crop. So that's what it will look like on Instagram. I like the original crop. I come down here to reset, hit enter, that will reset the crop. So that is it. Quick edit for you of this shot of Makala. Again, please see the previous video showing the BTS of this if you would like to. And there will be more videos linked up here. And hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like this kind of content, again, please subscribe. Please give it a like, and I really appreciate it. Thanks.